John Roberts. I was Gunners Make Guns Senior Chief. We went to Vietnam from Norfolk, went through the Panama Canal to California, on to Hawaii, ended up in Vietnam on the gun line. And of course, as I said, when somebody says, well, where were you? At that time, I was a third class. A third class doesn't know, all you know is, especially if you were gunner's mate, all you know is we're right there's a coast, and they say that we're in Vung Tau, but you didn't really know where you were. I mean, you could have been anywhere if you were quartermaster or something like that. I have talked to guys, and they said, well, Vung Tau was an Army R&R center. So it might have been, but we were up a river beyond Vung Tau. We weren't really what I would say up the river, but we were up a river, and we were gunfire support, and we were just basically floating artillery base. The thing I remember at that particular time, I was a mount captain, a gun captain. I was not the mount captain. And we would fire what they called harassment and irritation fire. If we didn't do anything else, if we didn't have another call for mission, firing mission, we would just sit and we would throw 3 rounds in this place, and then we'd go to another coordinates and then throw 2 rounds in that, and then they might fall right back to the place where we'd fired the 3 rounds and drop a couple rounds in. And we basically would do this all night long to known areas where the Viet Cong or Vietnamese, North Vietnamese congregated. And so we spent the majority of the time that I remember now was spent in Vung Tau. Although we were from one end, we were in Da Nang, we would be in all different places. We were Cameron Bay. We went up north for one period of time, picking up downed pilots. As the pilots got hit on a bombing mission, they tried to make it to the coast, whether they were Air Force, Army, or whatever, and hit the water, and of course we'd pick them up. And we were on some of those missions. But we basically were gunfire support ship. We were just an old World War II with nothing special on it but guns, and we did gunfire support from one end of Vietnam to the other. Before we left there, we had a couple guys that got out, and I moved up, and I was a mount captain. And so I was over at 20 years old or whatever. I was over a twin 5-inch gun mount with 18-man crew, and you fired, and that was a big achievement for somebody my age. Although my buddies that were in the gun gang on the Fox were, we're still close. We have reunions every now and then where we just get together, the gun gang. Of course, the Fox has reunions. Another interesting thing, when Pueblo was seized, we were in Vietnam, and I don't remember exactly whether we were on the way, but right about the time Pueblo was seized. And after Pueblo was seized, we were in Vietnam, we were in Japan on a repair. They would do tender periods or repair periods. And I don't know, the North Koreans shot down one of our spy planes, if you remember that. And they sent us to North Korea. We were in Vietnam, and we went up off North Korea, and we were up there about 2 weeks. And this is from my perspective, not anybody else. We were in the condition of cruising where there was ammunition in the guns, laying in the trays, ready to go, ready to fire. The gun mounts were on automatic, and the same North Korean boats that had seized Pueblo were out there running around us, and they were pointing their guns at us, and we were pointing their guns at them. It was foggy, terrible conditions, cold, miserable place. And you sitting here saying, man, they've already seized one of our ships. We're gonna be at war here in a little while with them. It's cold up here, and that was, I think that more so than when we were in Vietnam, and more so than Desert Storm. That was, I think if I would look over the time that you most tense, that was probably one of the most tense times that I was in the Navy. That period right there. We made R&R everywhere. I would, when I came home from the Navy, when I got out of the Navy, the active Navy in 1970, I had been to all the major ports in the Mediterranean. I'd been to the Azores. I'd been to the Caribbean. I'd made a Westpac cruise. I'd been to California. Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan. But also after the Fox, before I got out, I was on the USS Charles S. Berry, another destroyer the same as the Fox, DD-697, I believe. I was on it about 6 or 8 months. And of course, I ended up, after we got back, I finished my first 4-year tour. I really didn't want to get out of the Navy, but I got out of the Navy. And I went home, and in 1974, 75, I went in the Navy Reserve.